delighted to present Cole & Son's latest collection, Whimsical. Now, Whimsical is a collection that I've wanted to do for a long time. It's a range of papers which takes you on a nostalgic journey. All of those classical childhood stories, fairy tales and journeys that we took as children. We begin with Melville. It's a sea design which doesn't go down the maritime or nautical route, although that's where its inspiration came from. Named after Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick, this creates a really sort of calming and wonderful and slightly magical environment. We found this wonderful scarf design taken from the Cole & Son archive, which, as you can see, features sort of galleon sailing ship. But what we were really inspired by were these wonderful line drawings of the waves. Now, in our past, Cole & Son has created various, what I would call, environments. We've done the leaves, we've done the clouds, we've done the sky. So really this is offering something completely different. Melville features these wonderfully charming whales which are swimming to and fro in this lovely frothy sea. Everything is designed in-house. So you have these rather charming pencil drawings here. The most challenging aspect of this was creating the sea in this lovely sort of engraved kind of feel. And here you can see a piece of the final sea artwork. And then as a spin-off from Melville, we created Columbus, which for those of you who maybe want to be whale-free, is just a simple all-over wave design, this wonderful metallic-y, patinaed surface, a rather more stormy version. And we have a calmer version to go with this. So these two designs create a different space and a departure for us. Following that, we have this rather grand looking document here. We acquired this some years ago, and I'm afraid I have no clue as to where it's come from. It was a hand-painted piece of artwork. You can see this rather charming row of colour blocks at the bottom here, and featuring this just really fantastic music hall cabaret scene. So here we have the finished design, Cabaret. It's a wide width design, 68.5 centimetres, repeats on a half drop, and really is a very grand piece of work. We have all the fun of the theatre here, and looks fantastic on a wall. Now we come to Punchinello. Punchinello, as we know, is a character from the famous Commedia dell'arte, the 16th century Italian theatre. And of course the Pierrot or harlequin design has been ever popular throughout the years as a well-designed motif. And this is something that Cole's again has had in their library. You can see here the Cole's harlequin, which is what it used to be called. And this was a block print. So we thought what a perfect opportunity it would be to reintroduce it here in this collection of whimsical designs. Here we have 6 fantastic colourings. And as you can see here, we've been very careful to recreate the actual misprinting of the blocks because we thought that was rather a delightful little hark back to our heritage and history and the original way that it would have been printed. So we have this fantastic harlequinesque colouring, which is actually on the front cover of the book, these sort of wonderful reds and blacks, and then the moodier black and green, which is a very popular colour story at the moment, and then moving into these sort of softer colourings, a softer palette for those for whom it might be just that little bit too much. The next designs I want to talk about are Nautilus and Secret Garden. Now, these are interesting because they both came from the same original concept. We liked the idea of the foliage and leaves and, again, this sort of rather secretive little environment, little hiding place, if you like. So we've developed this design in 2 different ways. We've done an underwater world using wonderful dense foliage, and then we've used exactly the same foliage to create a garden world. And Nautilus is this wonderful underwater world. It's quite magical, dark and mysterious. And these wonderful anglerfish are floating around in amongst the seaweed and underwater plants, going about their business. And we've recreated this in 4 different colourings. We've got this rather fantastic deep marine blue, and then we've also created a very deep viridian green with this wonderful bright goldfish orange alongside a calmer, prettier neutral and pale green. And then we come to Secret Garden, where we've used the same base foliage, but we've created this rather unusual garden world. And again, we were trying to think of something that was unexpected to put in there. And we've combined these clamshells with garden snails. Again, a much fresher, prettier wallpaper, produced in 2 colourings of a stronger green and a softer green. So these are companions in many ways, but they offer something quite different. Now we come to a Coal and Sun classic, woods, which has been in our library since the 1950s. Because we haven't actually played with colour for this design for some time, we felt again this was a perfect opportunity to introduce 3 new colourings. So we have this classic blue and white colouring here with this Wedgwood blue of a lovely mint green with gold, and an old pink also with a gilver. And so following on from woods, we have another design in our library which hasn't had quite so much exposure as the woods design. And this is this elegant and playful star design. Now this has been in our archive for some 50 years or so. It was originally a block print. And again, stars being of that magical environment that we're trying to create, something which we haven't done in recent years. We've produced it in a number of colourings, beginning with soft grey and white, followed by this wonderful mole with rich gold, and then we go to a classic cream and gold, followed by old pink and silver, which in turn is followed by this lovely evening sky blue with lovely gold stars, finishing on the classic midnight and gold. Although this isn't a block print, we've tried to recreate the look of the block print as far as we can. And so we've given the stars these sort of rather charming wobbly edges to create that very old-fashioned, childlike feel. Having produced stars and produced woods, we then thought what a fantastic combination the 2 would make. And so it seems very obvious to put the 2 designs together to create the even more magical woods and stars. Beginning with lovely soft beige with cream trees and gold stars, followed by cool grey with wonderfully mysterious silver trees and white stars, the classic cream with gold stars and beige, the ever-present black and white with gilver stars, a soft Wedgwood blue with this wonderful ghostly white print, a more midnight colouring, these deep bronze stars, and finishing off with charcoal with silver trees in the moonlight with silver stars. Now we come to the first of our border designs. There are 3 in the collection in varying widths, and the first one's called Paddy and Louie. Coal and Sun is well known for its block print archive and very well known for a lot of these rather classical stone egg and dart moulding type of borders. So we thought, wouldn't it be interesting to take something like this and almost subvert it somehow, so you make it a little bit more playful. We've done just that by adding these 2 lovely tabby cats, being ignored by a rather cheeky little mouse up in the corner. We've drawn the cats so they look like they're crouching on top of the border. We've called this Paddy and Louie after 2 of my own cats, who I had the privilege of being best friend with for over 20 years. So Paddy and Louie live on. So this border is actually produced on a 7-metre roll, with the cats reappearing twice within that 7 metres. So they repeat every 3.5 metres, if you like, along with the little elusive mouse. Now we come to the second of our border designs, Scaramouche. The design has an interesting provenance. It's named after the rascally character in the Commedia dell'arte, but its history comes from a process used by surface printers when they are measuring out the colours for a particular design. And what they will do is, if a design has, say, 7 colours, they'll put a little dab of each of those colours on a strip of paper and they'll blow it like that to create a colour spot for that particular colour. And the actual shape that these little blows make is these rather bunting-like images. So we saw those and we thought what a fantastic border they would make. A very good colour vehicle, designed really to be hung anywhere in a room. There's nothing to say that it has to go at the top. It can go above a dado, above a skirting board, or even round a mantelpiece. Presented here in 3 really nice colourings: the vibrant and more carnival, multicoloured, much more verdant and more mysterious green and lilac, and then a much softer, prettier, possibly more nursery pastel. Following on from Scaramouche, we come to Peas Blossom, another Cole & Son archive block print, something we've had for the last 70 years. Butterflies have always been a very popular motif, so we've reproduced this rather pretty little design here in 5 colourings. And we've tried to mimic the block print effect by surface printing this. It's a very simple 3-colour print, but you get this wonderful surface effect. Named after the fairy in A Midsummer Night's Dream. This is a very pretty, feminine, gentle little design. We come now to the final of our border designs, although strictly speaking this is more of a frieze. Another of our wide width borders, 68.5 centimetres high, and this really is a wonderful wallpaper. All designed in-house. We felt that the maritime and underwater world theme was a very interesting one, and again had an element of sort of magical, slightly different environment about it. And so our artists started just painting these imaginative, made-up, make-believe underwater plants and corals, and then intermixing them with these charming little sea creatures and crustaceans to create Archipelago border. So this wonderful frieze comes on a 7.5 metre roll and it repeats once every 1.5 metres. Next we come to Titania, which is another reworking of the classic Puro design. We present this in 5 colourings, all featuring a wonderful textured metallic, starting with a charcoal and silver at the top here, going into a mole with a slightly warmer gilver, followed by sand and gold, classic cream and gold, and then finally ending on a really rather lovely aqua and gold. Lastly, we return to the butterfly theme in rather a more dramatic fashion with butterflies and dragonflies. Now, this is a design that has been in our archive as a screen print since the 1960s. It's always had this sort of rather interesting ombre 60s looking shadow effect in the ground. So we have changed it slightly to create a more sophisticated and contemporary effect, beginning with old print room blue featuring this lovely old pink, followed by soft greyed off chalky olive green with old gold and pink, going into a very classic grey and silver, followed by both a duck egg and an old pink on cream, and finishing up with a very moody and dramatic emerald on charcoal.